Hi, everyone, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are connecting from. And I trust we are all doing well today. Welcome to another session of our financial modeling timeout with Victor. All right, and trust me, I must really applaud you guys. Well done, and thank you for making out time to join us in this session. See, I understand it's not easy. It has never been, right? And the truth is, the higher you go, the more difficult it becomes and require a lot of other sacrifices. So, sorry, I had no intention of being a starting as a motivational speaker, but you just need to understand. One is nothing is free. Trust me, nothing is free. Yeah, this is a free boot camp. You are not paying money, but you know what? You are paying a lot of things, right? Time is your number one resource, and which is what you're sacrificing because you could have decided to be doing yes, and also always think in terms of if I do nothing today, from now within the next 3 months, well, what will make the difference? So it's better you start today, right? I had to make the sacrifice and the days where when I was having mine, trust me, it was not easy. There was no access to information. In fact, most people don't believe there's anything called modeling. So when you're telling them I'm going to financial modeling, be like, guy, come back here, come and do work as accountant or or you work as auditor and tax expert. But I chose this track. I had to go through it for more than a month. So um, luckily, so I met someone and the person felt like, oh, guy, if you've been able to do this little with the few things you've been able to gather here and there, let me give you access to one information box. And that's what makes the whole difference. So please note that this is nothing is free. A sacrifice, you could have been sleeping, doing something else, right? The cost of you buying
Trust me.
internet to
I
also
told you to come 1 hour
stay
because
up.
I'm trying to get it in ready.
Right. Also, you need to do that. You need to know that that's part of your sacrifice. So please, I always encourage us. Let's try to stay mute so that we don't distract ourselves. Okay. So I'm also yeah. I've been getting messages that some people network in particular region that their network is kind of bad. So I don't know, but let's see how it goes. Right. So enough of the story. Welcome. Let me also switch off my video so that you can only be seeing my Excel screen. Yes, let's be looking at my screen together. I sent one email to us this afternoon. Please let's check. Let's check. That's what we'll be using for our training today. So you got two Excel file. One is timeout with Victor TOWV templates version 1, and the second one is the information request list. Okay, so this information request list kind of look like something like this. So please let me confirm. So please go ahead and open the file first, then come to the chat box and type open. So as I've stated in my email, that we encourage you to try and come in with two devices so that even if it's your phone, use as the other one, join the meeting with your phone, right? Maybe you can do your phone like is that portrait or what they call it? So yeah, right. So you do like portrait so that you can the screen is a little bit wide, and if you have two screen, I think that will be good. Perfect. So now, as I said, that this is not a teacher to student training, and as I also stated that it's not like a beginner kind of class. So we'll be rubbing minds together. We also, just see me as a guardian. You know that lecturer that comes to class without textbook. Yes, I see me as one of it. Now, let's open our model templates. So maybe you can go to the last worksheet titled templates, and I will click on additional worksheets. So maybe I can call this worksheet, just call it notes. Notes. So this is for your own personal notes. Personal notes. Okay. So also remember, this is a free space. Share your, ask as much question as you want to ask. If I cannot answer it, I'm sure I have guys in the session that also maybe have one or two experience, so we can always share our thoughts. And also know it's financial modeling. Finance as a whole is flexible, so there's really no wrong or right. It's normal for you to disagree, but the whole question is it realistic? Does it make sense? That's just the whole thing. You guys should stop asking me if you can have access to the recording. I stated it in the email, right? But something, yeah, I know I've been getting messages that a network of some people in particular region is kind of shaking today, but let's see how that goes. Okay. Now, as a modeler, the way I want you to understand modeling should be different. See, so many people can build model, but not everyone can build, but only few can actually build model. Model has gone beyond putting something in Excel and saying something will grow by 5%, will grow by 10%. And I don't know, maybe that's one of the reasons I don't usually do more about corporate modeling, because even in the corporate entity, they always have this same kind of operational model. And I can tell you that if you are going to be employed to any company today, right, the higher probability of you building operational model, a kind of project finance model, is more higher than a corporate model, right? If you want to specialize in business valuation, yes, I can advise you to go into corporate uh, modeling 100%, right? And you are saying, you this is the historical financials, it will grow by 5%, cost of sales is a percent of revenue, and you are fine. Very good. But if you really want to take it a bit further, trust me, operational modeling, project finance modeling is the best. Okay? And I want you to see business being categorized into three. Right? See business being categorized into three. Will I say three? So first one is what we call operations. Okay, so you can also open that to your Excel and do the same thing. So operations, that's the first thing about business. Funding, okay. So business segmentation, you have the operational part, you have the funding part, okay, and then we now have the asset part of it. In fact, if we take a look at it, there's something we call our real framework. Real framework. So just see this as my working notes. I said, see me as a lecturer that don't usually come to the class with with his notebook. All right. So there's something we call real framework, and I'm sure we all know it, right? R is an acronym E, A, and L, right? So can someone tell us what do you think R stand for? Anyone? As I said, this is not like a teacher to student thing, and it's not a webinar. So it's, a, it's more like a discussion session. So R, revenue, right?
Revenue.
Yeah, no, let's just use
Yes.
the chat box so that we can, I think that will work. Then E is for what? So yes, let's start. Let's use the chat box. Yes. So E is for what? E is for expense. is for expense. Don't mind my spelling, right? Expenses. A is for assets, and L is for what? Liabilities. Okay. So let me say we say this is group 1. So let's call this group 1. Okay. If we take it a step further, I would say can we group it into 2 groups, right? Revenue and expense, we can see that in our income statement, which is group 2. Okay. Then expense, the same thing. Assets, where can we see that? So I believe we can see that in the balance sheet.
Yes.
Balance sheet. So let's make use of the chart box. I think that will do. Then liability, we can also see that in the balance sheet. Okay. If we now take it to group 3, so it's always good you understand the old thought when they created all these things and how it's transferred into business activity. So we said from the first category, so you see now, I want you to pay a lot of attention to the way I kind of do things, right? Now, and that's the way we kind of build operational model. You can see a model that just flow from A to Z. But maybe when you are building it, you start from Z, you insert H, you insert W, you insert T. So, because I said we are going to operational modeling, so be ready. So you would say a lot of this, and that's the real way we kind of build a model. Trust me. So this is not like I created a structure of how we are. I'm not doing a training. It's when you want to do for a training that you know that they must need to do A before B before C. No, let's do it practical. Now, for operations, I think revenue should come under operation, right? Am I correct? So always remember I said it too. Typing is part of your training. I shared one link for us to take a look at one interesting game like that. It can really help you to perfect your typing. So I believe revenue should be operations. Okay, expense should be operations. Assets, what should be assets? Assets should be assets. Assets should be assets. Liability, then I believe liability should be funding. Now, we can further break this down into different segmentation. And we can keep breaking it down, keep breaking it down. And we'll not stop. Okay? So let's assume, as I said, one of your skill as a financial modeler is your ability to understand 3 financial statements automatically. Come rain, come shine. If you're finding it difficult to understand 3 financial statements, trust me, I'm not sure how you really want to go with the modeling of a team. Okay, someone is saying they can't see my screen. Maybe you want to sign out and sign in again. Oh, okay, maybe let me stop share and let me share again. It could be your network. Yeah. All right, so I'm resharing it again. Okay, all right. So real framework is the whole thing that is really driving business. And whenever you want to do anything, you want to build any kind of model, please always think about it from these 3 segmentation. What's the business operation? Now, let's look at some line item that we have under a business operation. We have our revenue, right? We have our cost of sales. We have our operating expenses, which we call SG&A, selling general and admin expenses. All right. Yes. What are the other things? We are doing it together, please. Make a suggestion. Under revenue, so if you take a look at our 3 financial statements, you also have expo. So if you go to your monthly FS or I think your monthly FS, you will see all the line items that we have here. So let's take a look at it. Sales, cost of sales, operating expenses. We are saying that is also what? Under operation. Depreciation. Is depreciation really under operation? Is depreciation really under operation?
Yeah,
Anyone?
it's under operations.
Okay. let's leave that pending, but I would love to put it here for now. I would love to put it here for now. And you will see the reason why I'm saying we're going to put it there for now by the time we are discussing our drivers. So depreciation, interest expense, where do you think we need to put that? So let's use chart. Let's make use of chart. As I said,
Mm,
chart will be better.
And that should be after we have arrived at our net profit. You can have an interest expense to come after that.
Okay, Ayodele, since you like audio, let's use chat. Let's use chat. Let's be on the same page. Yeah, I think chat will be better so that I can read and yeah. So in case you are struggling to see my screen again, maybe you can log out and log in. Yeah, network can be funny. Yeah, if your network is not that strong, struggle with Teams. Yeah. Okay. So interest expense. I think we'll bring that here. Interest expense. We can also have interest income. Interest income. I can be wrong. I can be right. Okay. All right. So let me see the next one. We have our tax. So tax should be under what? I think that should be under operation. Should it be under operation? Okay. Let's leave it here for now. Expense. Very good. So we've captured everything under operating profit. Right. Sales goes straight to what? Operations, cost of sales operations, operating profit operation, depreciation, we move that to assets, interest expense, we move that to funding. In case we're definitely going to model interest income, by the way. So we're going to add that line item later. Tax, we move that to operations, kind of. All right. So now let's scroll down. Let's scroll down. Let's scroll down. All right. So please let's remember to mute our mic. Do not lose guard. Okay. So retain earnings. Net profit. Okay, no, let's leave that. We can come back to that. Property, plant, and equipment under which category? Right. So we also call it PPE. So PPE, right? Intangible. So let me call intangible assets. Intangible PPE or tangible assets kind of comes with our PPE, with our depreciation, right? And amortization. So let me put that together. So even if probably we might even model what we call right of use assets. Yes, Collins, if you have questions, to just type it in the chat box. Don't worry, I'm keeping my eyes on the chat box so that we can save a lot of time. All right. So PPE, tangible assets kind of come together with our depreciation and amortization. All right. So inventories. Now let's see inventories. Inventories, trade payables. Where do you think that will come into? Inventories, trade receivables. Okay, someone is saying cost of goods sold. Someone is saying something. Where do you think that will come? So we are focusing on only three segments. Three segments. So I agree with you. So it's going to come under operations, right? And we are going to call it net working capital, which is a sub-segment of our operation, right? So you can see how interesting this can be at times. So I'm going to put my inventories here, and I'll put my my receivables here. So you could even have prepayment here as well. Is a segment under operations. So inventory, trade receivables, prepayment. The truth is, everything, all the business activity ends in balance sheet. But you need to be able to know what is what and what is not. Okay. Now borrowings, where would that come to? I think that should be straightforward, right? So borrowings is under the business funding activity. Trade payable and accrued. So let me just copy that and I'll put it under these two guys. So I hope I'm not too fast, but as I said, it's part of the training. Yes. I think I started my typing career with Mafi Beacon. There's a time people go to computer to actually pay. to learn how to operate Microsoft Word document and be able to type. So it's part of the skill you must have. Yes, if you are dealing with uh, a real model with a lot of information, trust me, you cannot slow down. Okay, so overdraft. I think overdraft is also part of our. For overdraft, I think we should put overdraft under our funding. Yes, so overdraft. I think there's another name that people call it. What's the other name? Anyone? So some people call it revolver facility. Okay, so capital contribution, retain earnings. So for our capital contribution, so capital contribution, okay, capital contribution and what? And our retained earnings. So for the retained earnings, I'll just put dividends here. Dividend. Okay. All right. So as a modeler, you should be able to draw out this. Yes, overdraft is the same thing as revolver. Yes. So as a modeler, this is the first thing you should be able to draw out from your head about the business. Okay? This is everything about business in a nutshell. Is there any other thing we've not captured? Is there any other thing we've not captured? Is there any other thing we've not captured? Let's look at it closely. All right, good. So first, this is three segmentation of a business. Three segmentation of a business. Maybe I can make the color deep red. Right? I know I can be fast. Don't mind me. I'm used to it. I think I'm becoming slower nowadays. It's not my fault. So three segmentation. Any question? Any question? Type in the chat box if you have any question. Before we go to the next thing. So three segmentation of a business. You understand it. You understand how it transfers into financial statements. That's the first thing. Simple and straightforward. Everything about business, trust me, we always fall under one of these three categories. Operations, funding, assets. Okay? We good with that? Oh, cash. Thank you. You see, you guys. So where will our cash come to? Yes, thank you for that. So attention to details. Please always remember cash. Where will cash come to? Someone is saying operation. Someone is saying assets. Where do we put our cash? Where do we put our cash? Assets. Okay. Let's use chat. Let's use chat. I think I'm loving this. Where do you think we should put our cash? Cash flow. Yes, I understand. Thank you, Oladokun. So, cut the story short. We actually don't need to put any cash because of what? You see, this networking capital is actually our cash element. So we should put cash. Now, it's also kind of dicey, right? Because what cash flow is actually doing is just telling us how we've used cash within these three segments. Because that's what cash is actually telling us. Cash is telling us how have we used the cash that we got from this guy, right? To sort this guy and to also sort this guy. So now, where do you think cash should come into? Where do you think cash should come into? Where do you think cash should come into? At least with my explanation. Funding. Okay, I love that. So I think we should put it under funding. Let's put it under funding. I think we should put it under funding. Yes, right. I would have said we should put it under networking capital, but remember what networking capital is telling us. Networking capital is just telling us how well have we made use of our what? Of our funds regarding operation of the business. Okay, so let's put it on that fund. Let's put it on that fund. Let's put it on that fund. Right? How many money have we used? Perfect. Okay. So, all right. Colin saying, "Hi Victor, I want to ask if we can get a recording of this. Hey guys, can you? Let's leave recording now. Let's leave recording. Okay. So, how is interest income on that funding? Yes, right. Because the cash you have, you put it in the bank, and you generate interest income. Okay. So, why is retained earning represented as dividend? Those are the questions I want us to be asking. Please, you guys should leave recording for now. So, someone is saying, why is interest income under funding? Right. Yes. So, um, I hope we have time. I would have taken us through a typical structure of our income statement, and you can check my YouTube so that you can see that and see what drives each of the line item and how we categorize them, how we also categorize them. Okay, but basically it's more like a management decision. They take their cash, they take it into the uh, deposit it somewhere, right, and they generate interest income. It's more like a practice of a typical corporate business operation. So it's under fund is really not it's not their operation, because they could decide not to even put their money in a fixed deposit. Okay, so why is retained earnings represented with dividend? Yes, a very good one, because it's a schedule. So retained earnings is a schedule. So as such, it's those line items that we need. So net profit, we know that definitely we are getting that from our operation by the time we do our subtraction and addition. Okay, so dividends, people you pay, people that have, so the equity or that the capital contributor guys, right? You need to pay them. So funding is, so this funding is actually made up of funding sources and settlement of the funding. Right. So attention. Why are we putting retained earnings? Why? Okay, someone is saying I still don't get. So retained earnings is a schedule, right? Please, we are not going back to the to the start. All right, so it's a schedule. You have your beginning balance, you have your net profits, you have your dividends paid, then you have your retained earnings. So which means first thing, beginning balance, closing balance for previous period. Net profits we are going to get that from our operation by the time we do our subtraction and addition. Then dividend is what you pay them as their own benefits, and the summation of it is what we give you the retained earnings. Yeah, so we don't need to put it. Okay. So now the next thing is, let's now look at what we call drivers. So why is cash not under assets? Can you depreciate? So okay. Oh, see. So what we've done is we are not looking at it from financial statements categorization, but we are looking at it from business segmentation. You get business segmentation. We are not doing financial statements categorization. What we are discussing is segmentation of business. Business can be categorized into three, and that's the way we want you to understand it. Understanding financial statement structure is separate. We believe you already have that before you join this session. Yes, so we are not going back there. So it's what is business segmentation, not financial statements categorization. So yeah, so there's a difference between that. Okay, so maybe we should not have called it assets, considering asset is in balance sheet. Maybe that's what is confusing them. Is there any other name we can use? Is there any other name we can use instead of assets so that it will not confuse them? Because someone will be looking at it, will say that why is trade receivable not under assets? Why is trade payable not under assets? Is there any other name we can use? At least we use operation instead of, we didn't use income statement. Okay, investing. Thank you. I think investing sounds better. So investing. I think investing stands better. Yes, investing. So that they will not say, not putting cash under assets. Why are you not putting inventory under assets? I think this is better. Thanks for that. Yeah. Okay. So operation, funding, and investing. All right. And if you go to your cash flow statement, you will also see that is the same structure that we have in the cash flow statement. And you know what? As a modeler, as a financial analyst, the best financials you should be able to understand to the core is cash flow statement. It's so dynamic. And that's why if you go to banks, you will see that banks, they don't joke with cash flow. If you take your income statement, take your balance sheet, they don't care about that. It is cash flow because you cannot lie. You can lie about your profit, you can lie about even your balance sheet position and all those things due to also all this our accounting standard and here and there. But you see that cash flow, leave it. It is the true picture of the cash. So cash flow from operations, cash flow from investing, and also the same thing as cash flow from finance. So if you go to your monthly financial statement, you see that same structure here, which is the same thing that we've done. So cash flow from operation, investing activity, and financing activity. Okay. Now, let's now take it straight to the next one, which we call drivers. Now, I will do for income statements, and I will leave you to drivers in modeling. So I will leave you to do the balance sheet part. Okay. And what I'm going to do is, so I'll call this maybe line item, then maybe driver 1, so driver 2. So let's assume each line item can have up to, so let's just create like 5 drivers for each line item. 5, or let me even make it 7. Okay. So drivers. Don't mind me, I can be fast. Am I too fast, guys? It's part of the learning. By the way, I hope you are taking your notes. I hope you are also doing the same thing. I hope I'm not too far. I'm too slow, right? I'm slow. Okay, see now, guys, they are saying I'm slow. Okay, only one person is saying I'm good. Okay, my speed is okay. Okay, right. You know all those lecturers that will come to the class, won't come with note or anything. It's just the way they bring it, they will be putting it down. So you find a way to catch up with them. All right, so let's assume we have our revenue. So let's look at our income statement structure. Now let's look at, if you want to calculate a business revenue, what are different drivers? What are different approach that you can use in deriving revenue? That's our discussion. So under first driver, what are the let's have that discussion. For you to get your revenue, what are different drivers? What are different approach? What are different components that can be used? So definitely we have price, and I think price and volume. I think those two guys kind of come together. So the same thing, or quantity. So quantity. Okay, we have that. Year-on-year growth. I love that. So year-on-year growth. So more like a growth factor. Let's call that growth factor. Growth factor. Okay. So growth factor. What are different things that can drive revenue? So we have price, we have growth factor. Yes. Yes. Different things that can drive, that can affect revenue. That's basically what we are saying. You guys have forgotten. You also have price inflation. So price inflation, price incremental factor. Yes. So as a modeler, you need to think outside box, be creative. So capacity is part of it. Capacity constraint is part of it. Which other one? Market segmentation, discount. Exactly. Yes. That's a good one. So discounts. So you're thinking like so you see, the best way for you to be a modeler is to think like a management. Capacity utilization, FX rates. Yes, I think, okay, yes, FX rates. So for company that's kind of sell across. Compound annual growth rate, CAGR, is also part of our growth factor. Market segmentation, I think, yes, that's part of it, but a little bit outside. The turnaround time, so which means timing is also a factor. I love that. Thank you. Then you can now take it a little bit step further, and you have those market segmentation and all those things. Now, cost of sales. Let's go to cost of sales. Cost of sales. Okay, let me just put it under it. So cost of sales, I think the same way we have this price volume. So I think only the price will just change, and we make this cost per unit, and every other thing also still apply to our cost of sales. Anything that applies to revenue apply to cost of sales. Okay. Now let's go to our SG&A, selling general and admin expenses or operational expenses. Okay, yes. So for cost of sales, so instead of price inflation, this one will be cost inflation. Okay, so capacity also affects it, discounts, FX rates, and timing. Good. Operational expenses. So definitely we have our monthly expenses, which could include salaries, utility, just a typical normal monthly operation cost for a typical business. All right. What about transfer pricing arrangements? Does it affect? Yes, if you have access to that information, you can decide to go as deep as that. Definitely, if it's as long as it's operational model. The set your understanding of the business is very, very key. Okay. So SG&A. So definitely we're going to also have our cost inflation under it. So cost inflation. Which other thing? Which other thing can also drive? So yes, OPEX is the same thing. Yes, OPEX, operating expenses. So cost inflation. What can affect this? I think FX rates, timing also can also affect it. Okay. Then I think expansion. So expansion, if the business is expanding, it's also kind of drive the business growth, right? And also growth factor. So growth factor also drive that. All right. So staff contract here, all those ones kind of come under monthly expenses. So after that, what's the next thing that we have in our income statement structures? So depreciation. So we have our depreciation, and what will drive our depreciation? So if there's assets, let's say if there's fixed assets, right? If there are fixed assets, okay. Then which other one? For our depreciation, so asset lifespan. So we have lifespan. It could also be depreciation rates. Can also use depreciation rates. Then so fixed assets or same thing as capex. We have our capex kind of come under this. Okay, Mr. Damilari, yes. Don't worry, you don't have to you don't need to send your complaint to the chat box. Sorry, man. Sorry, you're experiencing the network thing. Yep. All right. Then after that, let's have our interest expense. So interest expense, and what will be the drivers too? So for our interest expense, definitely if they are loans, right? If they are lease, then interest rates, okay? Interest rates, then the timing, loan period. Okay, so someone is saying disposal for depreciation. All right, so considering his operational model, you might want to consider that factor. Okay, and then we have our tax. Okay, maybe let's have our interest income. Interest income, so cash, so cash deposits, Okay, yes, so interest expense. Okay, yes. The loan repayments kind of also drive that. Yes, that's true. So interest income, we have our cash deposits, we also have our interest rates, and then period. So timing is also part of it, kind of, right? Then maybe at times they can have a cash reserve balance and things like that. So maybe cash reserve. Okay. And for our tax is quite straightforward. Profits, so profit before tax, right? Tax rate. If there's loss relief, at times this can even come with capital allowance and some other factors. All right. So as a modeler, this is the first thing you need to create at the back of your mind. Anytime, any day, you already understand, hey, these are the things I need for this line item. These are the things that I need. Okay. Now, most times when you want to now build your model, it can be difficult for the model users or your clients to understand these three segmentation, this driver. Definitely, it's not as if they will automatically provide you revenue, cost of sales, SG&A, and tell you this line item is for this line item. They don't even, they might not know. Okay. So as such, there's always a need for you to develop what we call information request list. So I believe if you have modeling understanding, you know that by default. Okay. Now, if you go to the second Excel file that we have open, which I called information request list, let's open it together. Let's open the document together. And this is more like an example of an information request list that I always share with clients. Now, I said the rule is straightforward and very simple. One, make it concise, straight to the point. Okay. And if you look at this information request list, you can just see we've also created it into that three segmentation. Okay. First, investments, where we have our funding and the use of funds. So investment, the first one. The second one, where we have our funding and the use of funds. And the third one is typically the operations. So if you want to get more information, make sure you make it concise, but make sure from each question, you can get what to use and build this business segmentation. All right. So I will leave this. So this is an example. You can take a look at it on your own and also understand. So as I said, it's not a one-way thing. You can decide to have your own structure in another format. Just make sure it's kind of look professional and keep it short. You don't have imagine creating a questionnaire and I'm seeing around 25 questions that I need to answer. Whereas maybe some of those questions can maybe 5 of it just represents one question you can put together. So you can take a look at this on your own. So because of our time, I want us to get straight into our model build. All right. So any question so far? Any question? Any question? Any question? Aside people that have network issue, don't worry. We'll find a way to look into your matter later. Oh, sorry about that. Network can be funny at times. Someone is asking how long is the class? Okay. I don't know yet. But if you have some things to catch up with, we can free you. Yeah, trust us. Trust us. Okay. So now let's go straight into our model build. Let's go straight into our model build. And we have our input section. We also have our control section, which I believe you should have gone through. Created a video on how to create something like this too, so that it does not look like a magic to you. So your model build starts from you being very professional with your model template and properly well structured. Then make sure that all your model maintain the same structure across, which you can see here. Right. So for those ones that need yearly, you can see we have the yearly that comes first, and after that we have the monthly format. Do you have any question regarding the template before we get started? Do we have any question? Any question? Any question? Type in the chat box and I will answer or respond to you. Any question? Any question? Okay. So please talk about the fast standard. So fast standard is well, the truth is we have more than one modeling standard. Okay, in fact, that's a very good discussion that's that can really be a little bit confusing, right? Especially if you are just getting into the feed. Now, there's what we call financial modeling standard, FAST. Even if you go online and you just type FAST financial modeling standard, you will see it. You can download this like a book. So what that is trying to say is making sure that we kind of build a model the same way, such that if I build a model, I should be able to send it to another person in another country and the person take the model and be able to do what? To understand everything I've done fully. And include how you put your model structure, your sales style guide, which is the first thing which is what we created in here, model navigation, right? Right, and how you put your formula, you do this, how you kind of make sure that it is unique, such that if anyone pick the model, they can understand everything fully and don't need to call me or call you to ask. Even if they want to ask question, to be question about the business, not about calculation, not about some things, but it will be easy for them to understand the flow of the model. Okay. Now, yes, there are times where companies kind of have the way they kind of build their model, the way they structure things. So most times you also need to understand how a company, how a business also their own unique way of building model. But the truth is, it's still most times is always in line with fast standard. Just that yes, some companies just try to make sure that their model anytime anywhere they see it, they will know that no, this is our format, this is our structure. We are the only one that kind of do our model the same way. Okay, so someone is saying I should, we can say they notice that. Okay, about the structure, how can we add quarterly reports to this template without making it too long? Yeah, so as I said, the truth is very, very dynamic. So we have a monthly one, so we can duplicate this monthly worksheet and use it to create a quarterly report. If they want a quarter report, you can do that just the same way you kind of consolidate everything into annual here. You can also create the same thing. And I know there was a period I built a model. So because the client said does not just want too many too many worksheets. So what I had to do is build the monthly. Then from the monthly, I created another worksheet, and from that worksheet, they have like a a combo box option that allow them to say if they want to view everything on annual basis, everything just kind of consolidates into annual. If they want to view it on monthly basis, consolidate into monthly, spread into monthly. If you want to view it in semi-annual, it kind of also consolidate to semi-annual. If you want to view it on any periodical one, maybe quarterly, it's just kind of, but it's only on one single worksheet, just the way we have this HANA. So you have option if you want to see it monthly, just kind of spread quarterly and stuff like that. So hopefully, if we have time, we can touch that. All right. So we have our control. Under our control, we have our general and timing and every other thing. I believe you should know it. So number one is know your model. So I believe you should know that by now. So let's just go straight. Let's get started. Let's get started. Now let's go to the inputs. And what I'm going to do, so that it's always good you keep the same structure. I'll come to this my control worksheet, and I will just highlight my column 8 and column 9. I believe so. Let's try and make sure we are using the same cell address, cell range, row range, so that we can always uh, refer to it. So I'm going to go to my control worksheet, highlight my column 8, my row 8 and row 9, just highlight the entire row, then come to my input and paste it under the same thing from column 8 to column 9. So we know that here everything, all our data are starting from the same line. And I'm going to rename this to my macro economic data, right? So the first one should be our cost incremental factor. Should we even start with this? Okay, you know what? Let's start with timing. I think timing should be let's start with projects or business timing. I think business timing should do business timing. Yes, so business timing is good. So let's start with business timing first. Let's start with business timing. So Daimler is saying you cannot see my screen. I guess yes, the network of it. Sorry about that. So you can log out and log in, or let me stop share and let me share again. Yeah, that's something about Teams. If your network is not that strong, yeah, you might find it hard to follow. All right. So remember the whole objective as to why we are doing this modeling boot camp, right? That's how do you infuse project finance into a typical business operations, right? Yes, so I pasted it directly. So come to your control. I said just highlight your entire row 8 and 9. Control C. Come to your inputs. Go to, so make sure you click on row 8 first, then press Control V, and then you can rename it. So I said project timing, right? Or business timing. Which one did I use? Sorry. Okay. So from our control, we already have our model start date, right? So first thing, let's create. So just leave a row. Leave a row. There's always good structuring is very good. So model start date. So type your date under your unit, then link that straight to the model start date that we have in your control. Format it to show in date and make sure you put it in your link cell style. Link cell styles. Man, you guys and certificates. There's no certificates. Please, guys. I'm not a certificate person. I'm doing a free boot camp, right? This is a very free boot camp. Is for knowledge based only. You can't, there's financial modeling exam in case you decide you want to get certified. You can't go ahead and do your certification, but I'm just Victor. My name is Victor. I'm not any institution. I'm not a training firm. I'm not anything. So there's no way I can give you a certificate. And there's nowhere you take the certificate to. You cannot be looking for work and say I have a certificate that I did a boot camp with Victor on financial modeling. Mm-mm. You know what matters the most? Can you do it? And that's the word we have now, right? My first job, they've given me a job before they even asked for my certificate. The second job of my financial modeling that I got, they've given me the work before they asked for my certificate. And nobody even asked if I got one certificate from one boot camp or online. They gave me a case study. Can you do it? So sorry guys, sorry to disappoint you. I like to keep my hands clean. Yeah, so nothing about certificate. Sorry guys. Sorry. Okay. How are you able to reflect your link? So equal to, it said model start the equal to, we already created that in our control. So just click it there, enter. Your cell style, I believe you know cell style by now. If you don't know cell style, please go to my YouTube, you'll be able to see it. So you're under your home tab. So that's the purpose of what you created here. This navigation, model navigation. Yes. Don't let us, guys, don't pull us back. So link it, format it to date, then go to your cell style. You see your cell style and see all those options. Click on the link cells. So if you're a modeler and you don't know about cell style, that's not a good one. Okay. So now, luckily for us, in fact, I have one. So if you go to the information request list and come under your price and cost. So I share this. I have one on engagements, ongoing engagements, and I feel it will be also be good for us to use. So look at what these clients, what they've provided to us. Take a look at it. So go to your price cost in your information request workbook. So looking at this price information that they've shared with us, what do you think the business is doing? Or what do you think they want to do? Just look at the information. What do you think? Look at it. Look at it. Look at it very well. Real estate. Look at it very well. Look at it very well. Look at it very well. So as a modeler, attention to detail is very important. As long as you are seeing cement back and you are seeing the price of it, I don't think she's kind of look at real estate or construction. So it is what real estate is. Sorry, it's a cement production. Yes, cement factory. So they want to set up a cement factory, and this is the product that they will be selling. So the concrete bag, so there's kind of cement they call a concrete bag, and also what we call concrete cinder block. So you can check about cement industry, cement product in US here, right? And so that you can relate it to what you have in your country as well. So that's what they want to do, and they're telling us that, hey, set the start date will be 1st of January. The setup period, so which is first thing we need to go into. So come here. So I'll call this setup, or some people call it construction period. Okay. So make sure. So let's make sure we are working on the same cell address, right? Cell range. Okay. So I'm putting it under row 13. That should be 13D. Bolding it. Put underline it. Underline it. Okay. So let's call this start date. So you can also just index it a little bit. Sorry, we are not doing Excel. We are not doing Excel training. So sorry, guys. So start date, then maybe setup date. So let's call it setup date. So which means when you start a business, right? It's not the same day. So what? So okay, in nutshell, what we have here is they are telling us that, hey, we've secured the funding, we've secured everything. In fact, we've ordered the equipment. Okay, so help us build more like an operational model that we can be using to also help us monitor our cash. All right, so which means we need to be able to factor in for them to bring the plant from where they've ordered it, bringing it to the place where they want to set it up and doing all the setup. So which means it's not the day business starts that the business starts generating revenue. And that's where the concept of project finance comes into play. So in project finance, they will tell you that, hey, we have something we call construction period, where you take your where they give you the fund, then you need to take your time to be able to set it up. So why during that setup, someone is actually funding the projects and the whole concept. So setup, then we call this end date. All right. So put it as a date. So our start date. So let our start date be the same thing as our model start date. Model start date. Okay. Setup date. So I'll put this in more like a month. Enable edit. Okay. So someone is dropping a message. I have an issue in modifying the template file. Okay. So in case it's requesting for editing, so make sure you click enable editing. So let's say 6 months just for them to bring the plant and do the whole setup before the business kickstarts. And for your end date, I'm quite sure we used e-dates in our while we're setting up our model template, right? So go ahead and use your e-dates. So e-dates. So I know most of you did not watch how to create this template. Yeah, but e-date should not be a difficult formula for anyone working as a modeler. So e-date, my start date, comma, number of months, my 6 months, close my bracket and deduct one from it so that I have my model, the construction, the setup, end date. Set it up like this. As you're building, be professional about it as well. So we've created that input, so you don't need to create it again. Just go to your cell style. You can drop that option. You will see the input cell style. So some of you that did not watch the recording video and you are struggling to understand some of these things, this you can still go to my YouTube channel, check it out. I think I even created like a playlist on how to create uh, cell styles in Excel. So you can check that as well to really help you. Okay. So copy. So I'll copy my setup again. Leave just one row. Then call this my operating period. So call this my operating period. Operating period. operating period, and I can call this so just copy my start date that I have up here, put it as a date. Then what will be our operating period like that? Since we have our setup end date, what do you think will be our operating start date? Just in case I'm too fast, just let me know. So it's part of the training. Sorry. So okay, so since we have our setup end date, what will be our project start date? Yes, what we need to do, not the date. So equal to my setup end date, then plus what? Plus 1, and press enter. Okay, so my end date plus what? Plus 1. My construction, my setup end date plus what? Plus 1. So setup date is the same thing as our model start period. Please, I'm fast. Yes, I love that. We also want you to be fast because that's also part of the skill of a modeler. But I hope you have two screen. Yeah, so that kind of make it easier as well. So we have our setup. So your start date, your setup start date is the same date as our model start date, right? So how do I change from value to dates? No, that's I don't believe that anyone in this session should ask that kind of question. Nah. Okay, I think you guys can help. Okay, so I believe if you've been able to complete that first task, right? I believe you should be at least standing well. Okay, so by the way, I have like a company that is looking to hire guys that are sound. Maybe if you are good with modeling and you have like a little bit understanding of project finance, right? But the company is in Nigeria. It's one of all these infrastructure company. They are looking to get 2 or 3 people into their team. So maybe if you also have the experience, you can just share your CV with me, and I will share that. Okay, Felix. What's that? Okay. For the okay, I get that. So some of you actually boycott the okay. It's all right. It's all right. Yeah, it's a full-time role. It's a full-time role. Yes, please. But you must be sound. They're kind of a project finance company. So it's not a small company here. So it's not a small company. It's a very big company. By the time you send your CV, I will tell you the name of the company. Yep. No, it's not a referral. You go through the normal process. You go through the normal process. Yes, but it's in Nigeria, by the way. It's one of the top infrastructure company in Nigeria. How can you reach? How can you reach me? Email. Just send the CV and I'll forward it to them. If you are not qualified and you have someone that is, as long as the person is good and looking for another opportunity to kind of, especially if you are good with modeling and you want to explore the infrastructure space, it will be good. All right, so operation period. Let's get back to where we are coming from. And then, so now, as I said, it's all about thinking about business reality. Thinking. Now we have a setup of 6 months. Now the next question is, what if we plan that it will take us 6 months to set up this business, the factory, right? And we kickstart our business the following month. Don't you think there could be delay? So if we plan 6 months and now it's becoming another month, don't you think it has a way of impacting the business? So what we do is under this my construction. So as I said, that see the way we model, at times we can go a 10 step, and you need to come back to step 2, insert something in step 6, and so that's just the practical way, right? When it comes to model build. So setup, I will just insert another row here, and you know what I'm going to call this? I'm going to call this delay period, and it's also be in months. So basically, what we are saying is, if you are saying it will take us 6 months to set up this plant and kickstart our operation, what if so as a model, as you are building the model, you're also thinking about that. So because you want to build the model at once, and it can accommodate any kind of scenario. So let's say our delay month, yes, the truth is, the management might not be thinking like that, but you are wearing that cap, right? You should take that professional stand and also more like a financial advisor. So there's no way you can be just a modeler. You also need to be a financial advisor. So because you don't just build the model and leave it. No, you need to take that step further, right? A modeler, from there you become a financial advisor, because the output of the model is very, very critical in decision making. So let's say our delay period, let's maybe hopefully maybe a month. So what that means is, by default, we are setting our setup period for them to bring the equipment and install and do the whole thing. We are setting it to almost 7 months. All right. Now the next question is it that the business would have hired people, we start hiring people then, or they will wait till after it is being set up and do you think that's the discussion we are going to discuss when we get there? Okay. So which means we need to update our period end date. We need to update our period end date. Okay. So what do we need to do in order to update, to incorporate that delay period into our model? As I said, it's a discussion, so it's not a student to teacher thing. So what do we need to do? What do we need to do? What do we need to do? So for now, we've not incorporated this. We've not incorporated the delay period. We've not incorporated it into our end date. What do we need to do? What do we need to do? So someone is saying we should just add that delay period, right? So equal to, I'll open my formula. I'll come to this, my month, and do plus, right, my delay period. You go to your e-date formula, right? The start date, then the month. Previously, it was only on setup period, which is 6. So that's 6. Do plus the cell that contain 1. Do not add code in your formula. Remember, you've created that cell style guide. That these are input, these are input. Don't ever add code in a formula. Right? Okay? And press your enter. Press your enter. So to also see that it is working, change your delay period to 3 months. Be sure that it is working. Change it back to 1 month. If I change it to 0, and be sure that everything is working perfectly. Okay, so any question? Any question? Any question? We are good, right? Okay, perfect. So we set up our start dates for the operations, and also let's have our end date. So for the end dates, what you just need to do is type equal to, go to your control and link it to the model forecast end date. Don't need to do any formula there, any calculation there. So your operation end date equal to, go to your control, see the model forecast end date under your model timing, click on it, link it. So format it into date and link. So don't worry, don't be shy if you have any question. Don't mind me, I can be funny at times with my responses. Right? So don't worry, just type. Even if I can't respond, someone will still pity you and respond to it. Right? Hey Victor, how did you do this? What the heck? Okay, so please, after operating period, how did you get the start date? After operating period. Yeah, so the start date is just, so if you are saying it's going to take you this, so this is when your construction will end. So if your construction end, what's the next thing? You start operation the following day. We're assuming you start the operation the following day. So just your setup end date plus 1. Nothing special. Okay, then we have our end date. So link your end date, link it straight to your control, the timing that we have under our control. And we're really sorry, guys. Thinks most of our guys are really having this network experience. Okay, so maybe you guys will need to pay me so that I can share the recording with you. I don't like going back when I say something. Okay, so is it okay to set the start date? Yes, the start date. Yes. No. It's a formula. We didn't link it. Yeah, so the start date under your operation, we didn't link it. Okay, so are you clicking on the cell style linked to bring out the brown color? Hey, Ogashi, you did not watch this model template setup. I know. Right? So if you don't know how to do cell style setup, I think if you go to my YouTube channel, maybe after the session, in case you want me to show you that, just remind me at the end of the session so that I can show you where I have it on my YouTube channel so that you can see it. Okay. So when you link this, right, you need to format it into date, which is Ctrl+Shift+3. So by the time you link it, it's going to appear like something like figures. Data also figures in Excel. It's just formatting. So press your Ctrl+Shift+3. So it also depends on your type of keyboard that you are using. But if that is giving you difficult, just go to your just press Ctrl+1 and select date. Okay, then once you are done, come to your cell, under your home tab, you see this conditional formatting, format as table, then you see this cell style. So click on the option and you see this guy called tutorial. Okay, all right. So please make the recording available. You guys will pay. I don't have data. Okay, so this okay, right? Please, the recording network is really frustrating. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so Femi didn't even know there was a setup tutorial. Olafemi, are you sure you did not boycott this to join this our boot camp? Okay, so Mika is saying for the setup period, can you say best case 6 months, base case, and worst case? Is that okay? Yes, don't worry, we are still going to get to the case and scenario thing. Yes, but for now, let's just leave it like this. So most times, in fact, I just finished building one model now, and can you believe that all the model inputs? So we set up the model properly like this with the input and everything. But by the time we were done, we now created what we call a mega scenario sensitivity. And all the inputs, we move everything to that scenario worksheet. So the scenario worksheet is kind of very, very mega. But don't worry, hopefully, if you have time, you'll be able to cover something like that. So you create your base case, best case, can even have up to 20 cases in one single model. Right? So let's still leave scenario and cases. We'll come back to that. Okay. So Lafemi, shortcut on macro is a okay. All right. So guys, in case you know the shortcut on Mac and MacBook, you can help a brother. All right. All right. So now let's set up our timing. Let's set up our timing. And the truth is, this is more like how we kind of do it when you are dealing with project finance, because you're saying during this period where they are doing the setup of the equipment, remember it is that equipment that you use in doing production and in generating revenue, right? So which means during that setup period, there's really no revenue that is coming in. But based on our modeling standard, it's saying you should put the formula in year one, okay, and copy it across for all the years. So you always need more like a timing that will always tell us that, hey, this period, yes, even though you've calculated your revenue, there's no revenue that is coming in this period. So which means that's, we call it flag, is what we help us keep track and always make that automated switches. Whenever they change the date, it also vary like that. So now let's do the timing plug here. Let's do the timing below. Let's do the timing. Let's do the timing here. Let's do the timing. Should we do the timing here, or we should do it in calculation? Okay, you know what? Let's do it under calculation. I think calculation will be fine. Calculation should work. Yes, let's do it inside our calculation worksheet. Right. So what do you guys suggest? Should we do the timing inside input worksheet, or we should go and do it inside our calculation? I think calculation is fine. But better still, we can even do it under our control. We can do it under our control. Which one do you think we should use, guys? For modeling experience, guys, should we do it in the inputs control, or we should do it in our calculation? Here we have all that, just our timing spread of a thing. Okay, someone is suggesting control. Okay, another person is saying control. Let me hear your guys' view, your view. Okay, very good. Oh, all right, perfect. So let's go to our timing. In fact, we've created the header already. Calculation is better. Does the timing influence all aspect of? Yes, so it's that timing that we do the automatic switch. So we know that this period there's really no business operation, so there's no expense being incurred here. This is when revenue is coming in. This is when you incur this. So it's that timing that just kind of help us do that. Not only revenue recognition, every other aspect, even your funding. For example, depreciation. Now, if it's taking, so very good example for depreciation, if it's taking you 6 months to bring all those plants and set it up, there's no way you can depreciate asset that is in work in progress. So which means your depreciation will need to wait till when you start your business operation. So that's just what those timing flag of a thing we kind of help us do. Okay, so let's go to our control. They said we should do it under control. I'm not the one, no. It's you guys that said we should do it there. So as I said, there's really no one or two ways of right or wrong. Right? There's some people that prefer to have a separate worksheet and they will call it timing. And all the timing calculation just flow into that worksheet. So people that prefer to they call their own admin, that's why they do all those workings and all those setups. So but let's say we are using this. Okay. So under my timing and flags, so let's call construction. So construction, I'm in row 38. Row 38. Okay, so I have start date, then I have my end date, then I have my construction period, and I also have my construction counter. So as I said, we are taking it a step further, all right, and that's why I said just know that this is not like a beginner class. Yes, it's not like a beginner class. It's I want to get better at modeling. I also want to upskill and things like that. The truth is, you keep learning. Even me myself, I'm still learning. I don't know anything. Trust me. But out of the little, let's distribute it across. All right. I've done few trainings and I was actually the trainer, but I ended up gaining a lot from the guys. So knowledge you keep learning that. Okay. Is there a suggestion for beginner class? No, we've done beginner class previously, so no suggestion. No suggestion for now. Yeah, okay. So let's maybe something like ash color. Okay, yeah, something like ash. I think we also have our unit explanatory format. All right, so start dates. So under this my column H, which we've titled input or linked sales time. But I know there's I know guys that are very smart, right? Um, it's easy for them to pick things up. So that's why we still made it open that even yes. So what's the shortcuts for index? Hey, we are not doing Excel. We are not doing Excel training. Sorry, please. So just highlight everything. You see this is the index guy. So under your alignment, you see it. We see it. This is the guy. So this is the guy here. Sorry, trying to just draw. So this is it here. This guy, this is what you use for your index. So if you want to index, right? So we are not, okay, so someone has helped you, right? So I think it should be alt H. So either alt H5 or H6. Yes, either of the ones. So to the front, alt H6, alt H6 to the back. So anytime you press alt on your keyboard, just follow those alphabetical appearance. Right. Hey, for our Mac people. I don't know about it. I don't know. I don't know about it. All right. So start date equal to link it straight to your inputs for the construction start date, end date. We also link that to the end date. So do that linking. Make sure you put it in your link cell style. Keep the format that you've created. It's part of your standard. All right. All right. So come to our monthly calculations. Let's come to our monthly calculations under column U. Under column U, don't do the mistake of putting it under month, under year. Please don't do it under year. So you remember our timeline frame? We have from column L to column Q. That's for yearly period. We're doing that so that we keep the same structure across, right? That will keep the same structure across. And here you have your monthly period. Now, because of the switching those dates, that's why most times you always see operational model or project finance being built on monthly basis. So column U, don't start from cell from column M. So we are starting from column U39. I believe we are still maintaining the same structure. Okay. And basically what we want to say is the period that we have up here, right? These are our January, February, the start date, end date that we've listed up here. Okay. Are you the same thing with the year that we've imputed here? Just simple as that. So we just want to test. It's called logical modeling. Okay. The period that I have here, are you the same thing with what I have here? Definitely the answer will give you yes. So which means what I want to put a formula that will tell me that this January 2025 and what I have in this my input here, this my data here is also the same thing. So which means I want to see one here in the period February. So I also compare February. Are you the same date with these dates? Definitely it is no. So that will give me 0. So that's what we want to do now. And we don't want to be typing the one like that, so that we want to automate it. So to do that, just type equal to, just the same way we've stated it, my period up here, this period up here, and make sure you lock the row. So U $3. You can use your F4. You can decide to type your dollar yourself. Okay. Then are you equal to, so just like you want to compare these dates, are you the same thing with what? The date that I have by the column. Now, make sure you also log the column. So as a modeler, you see cell referencing. You see, there's no way, there's no magic to it. Also, I think I have some videos on my YouTube you can check. All right. So make sure you are locking the correct one, the correct row, the correct column. So for the dates up, we are looking, we are keeping that row because so when you are building the model, always think in a dynamic way such that you can always reuse the formula so that you don't need to be imputing the formula again. So if you keep some row and column constant, it kind of help you to do that. So press enter. It's going to give you true. It's going to give you true, right? Because the dates kind of match. Now, in Excel, true is the same thing as 1 and false is the same thing as 0. I hope we know that. So if I type true here, and I type false here, in Excel, these two guys are not text. So let's assume I have 100 here, I have 100 here. Just doing an example for you. So if I multiply 100 by true, It's basically saying mean I'm multiplying 100 by what? By 1. Enter to give me 100. But if I do the same thing for the one with false, it's going to give me what? It's going to give me 0. That's quite straightforward, right? Okay. So with these two that we got, right? Now, I know some people like to multiply it by 1 or something, but there's also a formula in Excel that can help us do that. So just type n in front of it and close the brackets at the end. So look at it. So type n. So after the first equal to, type n, open your brackets, then go to the end of your $839, close the bracket and press enter. And you can drag it across to year, to the month 60. Don't go beyond month 60. So for you to do that too, let me show you the shortcut. So immediately you've done you put the formula in the first cell. On your keyboard, press Ctrl Shift your right arrow. So it will take you to the end of the worksheet. So which means even if you have 100 months, do the same thing. So the first standard is saying put your formula in first period and drag it across and make sure it's consistent. So now because we are not using cell CC, so just press your, while you are still holding that, your Control Shift to. So Control Shift, so it take you to the end of it. Remove your hand from the control, then take the back arrow to take it back to the last month. Right? I know some people usually prefer to even close everything, but um, because of excess formatting, it's always good you leave one blank uh, column. You can press your Control R and that will copy it to the end. Okay, so go ahead and try the same thing with the end date. So compare the end date to the end date. I will do my own, you will do your own too. I just explained the reason why CC is empty. So it's always good you close the Excel. So now you've put a formula here in first month. Let's assume your model is 700 months, right? For you to be able to get to just go to the end, press Ctrl Shift your right arrow to take you to the end of your worksheet. So which means if you've not hidden this or that, if you watch the recording video, I'm sure you know how to hide, to close your Excel file and hide all that column, right? So go to the end. So the reason why most times we usually keep this last column, the last column, we usually keep it is because at times you can copy a formula here and you copy it into, even if you've hidden a worksheet and mistakenly copy it, which means it can kind of extend the formatting. Then you just see your Excel file just become heavy unnecessarily and you don't know why. So most times it's always good you have this. And also, if you want to unhide all this other column, it also makes it easier for you to unhide from here. Yes, if you watch the recording, I think I said something like that in the recording too. So the same thing you did for your start date, go ahead and do the same thing for your end dates. Compare the end dates to the end dates. So if you want to type the formula, you can retype it. If you want to modify the start date, you can modify it. So if I control D, control down, I'll move this my cursor from start date to the end date here, and I'm good. And I can highlight everything, highlight it to the end. So make sure, check. It's always good. Self auditing is good when you are building models. So make sure that the same date here, 31st July, if you come on that 31st July in your period, it should also be the same. It should be this, you should see that one there. So that one is just flagging that yes, this thing is happening here, this thing is happening here. All right. So are we good with that? Are we good? Any question? Quite straightforward. Check. It's a garbage in, garbage out. Excel can never be wrong. It's what you give to it. Yes?
Please, I didn't get the one in my
You didn't get what?
the one at the end of 31st July.
You, you are comparing your end date to your end date here. So make sure it's on end date, not beginning. So make sure the date you are comparing has a series of dates. That's the same thing. So the first one, the start date, we are comparing series of start dates to the start date input data that we have. And then the end date, you compare the end date and make sure you keep the row where you are locking the row, where you are locking the column. Damilari, we've heard you. As I said, please stop. We understand. You're not the only one in that shoe. So just stay cool, man.
Hi, Victor.
Guys, please, let's use chat. Chat. Just chat. Don't worry. Yep, just use chat. I know you guys prefer to talk. Let's use chat to save ourselves sometimes. Okay, so yeah. Now, at times when you are building, especially if you are dealing with a lot of, if you are building a model that has a lot of data in it, right? It can be so interesting. So Mojisola is saying, kindly look at the dates. Seems to be different from the template you sent. I'm not sure. I've been sharing one simple template, but we started since your input. If your inputs are correct and it's aligned with this, we're all on the same page. I'm not sure I changed any dates in the one I sent. We're still using the same dates that we have here. All right. So, which someone made a comment, and I agree with you 100%. So most times when you are dealing with this kind of model, there's something we call a check. So I know, yeah, some people prefer to put it so there'll be more like a check in your column A, right? So which kind of make sure that what you've calculated is actually correct. So for example, now these are our start dates, right? You kind of build a check to be sure that yes, is it. So if you sum it, you just know that you're expecting only one in the date in the whole row series. Your end date, you also expect to have only one. So which means if I come here under my total column, so you can see this total column and type, if you type equal to sum, and I sum everything from month 1 down to the end, it should give me 1. So if I have 0 or if I have 2 or something like that, that means there's a problem. The formula has not been properly computed. So there are different ways we build check, right? But I just don't want to load you guys with more. So let's take it a step at a time. Yep. All right. Are we good with that? Are we good? So maybe okay. Maybe we do one. We'll do one. So we'll do one. We'll do one and check. Now let's build our construction period. Let's build our construction. So what we now need to do is we need to build something that will tell us that this is between this date and between this date. So we need something that will tell us that yes, this period, this is one, 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 this is one. So which means this period here, they represent that construct, the setup period. Okay, and from there you expect to have 0 and like that. So which formula do you think can help us get that? So which means what we want to do is we want to merge the formula that we use in 1 and formula we use in 2. So I want to be sure 1st January to 31st December is within this start date and end date that we have here. 1st February 25 to 28th February is still within this date of 01 January 25 and also the end date of 31st July. You go to your March, the same thing until you get to that same month which ends. So which means you need a date which has from 1st 2025, right, to 31st July 2025. So which means is within this date range. And we need a formula that can help us do that. Now, please, attention to detail is very important. I don't want us to do this 2 times. Okay? Equal to and. We can do it together. So type your and function, open your brackets. So welcome to Project Finance in building operational models. In the typical models you build is, oh, everything is starting in year 1 and you move on. So when it comes to real business operations, right, this is how kind of work. Type your AND function. And the first thing we need, my start date. So the start date that you have on your header. As I said, remember to keep the row constant. Why we are doing that is so that we can reuse the formula. We don't need to start imputing the formula again once we keep those proper cells where we need to lock. Okay. The date I have here now, are you greater than or equal to? So which means the date must be the same thing, and also the dates above this our start date, which I'm going to keep the column constant. And if you look at that, as I said, the range, remember, I highlighted the range of dates that we want. So which means the first conditional format, conditional testing, which is what and we help us do. So it's to make sure that those two conditions, you can have multiple conditions, make sure that they are all being met. So first, my start date, right? So which means I need a date that is equal, the date that is equal to the same date that I have in my data input. Must be the same date, and also must be greater than that date. So which means this is representing my start point. So I need a date that is at the start point. That's what the equal to is saying. And I need date that is beyond, that is above it. Comma. Now the second one will now be what? My end date. Okay. My end date. I'm also going to keep the row constant. So if you don't know how to use cell referencing, locking, keeping row, keeping column constant, please, if you go to YouTube, I'm sure you'll see a lot of training on it. You need it. There's no way you can be a sound modeler if you don't know it. Okay. Then the end date. Now the end date, are you lesser than or equal to? So it's more like we are inverting the start date. So for start date, we need data that are beyond. Now for the end date, we need dates that are lesser. January 2025 is definitely lesser than 31st July. July 28th, February, right? It's also lesser than our 31st July. Okay. Are you lesser than or equal to then this end dates of our input? And I'm going to leave the column, the column constant, and I'll close my brackets. So you can multiply it by 1. So F4 to fix row. Yeah, so so just, I'm sure if you keep clicking your F4 it will tell you which one. But I know F4, let me see. F4, for the first one, absolute, so you kind of lock both the column and the row. If you press it once, it lock the row, and if you press it another, it lock the column. So 3 times for the column, 2 times for the row. But you should just know where you need the dollar to be, right? So you can multiply by 1. Multiply by 1, or instead of, you can use the hand, but let's just multiply by 1. Will always be 1. So that one is allowed. Then copy it across. Then you can do the total here. Under your total, sum it. It must be the same. It must be the same thing with what? With our construction date plus our delay date, delay month. So which is 7. So you can now build a check that make sure that, okay, let's take it step by step. So let me open the formula again so that in case you want to check. So most times I always prefer understand the whole thing. So why they need to multiply by 2? Yeah, so it's okay for you to know. So remove the multiply by 1. So it's just going to give you true. So it's going to give you true or false, right? So yeah, I know some people usually prefer to have that true or false there, but just so I said, true multiply by anything, we always give you the same thing. The initial one, you say that we use n. So it's the n that is, so instead of multiplying by 1, that is what that n is doing. So you can also decide to use n. So instead of multiplying by 1, right, you might need to come to the formula before your and, type your n in front of it, and close the bracket. So you still give it the same thing, but The formula is kind of fun, complicated already, so don't let's introduce any formula so that we don't scatter the class. So do your summation. You should have 7. You should have 7. Look through, look through. I'm zooming my screen very well for you to see. My summation give me 6. So check. Make sure your date. So where you're supposed to put greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So what does 7 confirms? Hey. So 7 confirms. We go to your input. What did you call your construction period? It gives you your setup period plus your delay period. So that just helps you to confirm that yes, your flag is working perfectly. All right, so you can even take it a step further. So after you sum it up, make sure that you just come to the end of your summation and type, so this sum, type equal to the summation of both your go to your input and summation of your setup date plus your delay date. So it should give you true. So that's one check. So you can have different type of checks just so that you are sure. And then you now create one worksheet where you just take all those checks, you take them there, and use it to create like a master check. Okay. So do your summation. You should be getting 7. Person that got 6, I hope you are getting 7 now. Okay, good. So saying equal to, then type the summation of the entire row equal to, then the summation, you go to your input, then you also sum up your setup dates plus your delay dates that you have in your input and press enter. Right. So I know most people usually prefer to format this to show as okay or error, but don't let me scatter our brain today. So just leave that as true. Right. Yeah, I know people usually prefer to, so you format it in such a way that it only show, if it is true, it show okay. If it is false, it show 0. Right. So can use, but let's leave that. Okay. So now for our period counter, please, any question, guys? Any question? Are we on the same page? Are we on the same page? Any question? You change it to 7. No, I didn't change anything to 7. So we have our setup date and we added our delay date. So you sum both of them together, it will give you 7. Daniel, move fast, move fast, move fast. As a modeler, you need to be very fast. You need to move fast. It's part of the learning. Okay. Now for the construction period counter, just want to count the number of what we want to. So what we want to have here is we want to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and every other period just becomes blank. That's what that counter construction period is. What we need it for, right? So we want to know, oh, this is period 1 of our setup / construction period. This is month 2 of it. This is month 3. This is month 4. This is month 5. This is month 2. So the next thing is think about it. How do we get that? How can we do that? Right? So keeping it simple, just type equal to, right? My previous period, so which is the base of the same. Most times you build in your model, make sure you always have a base period. So equal to my base period, even though it's blank, yes, leave it like that. My base period, okay, then plus my base period plus my base period plus then my base period plus let me think through it so that we're sure this works perfectly. So what we want is construction period start date becomes 1. So from that, you just keep growing. Okay, yeah. So I think this then plus our start date. So let me see, will that give us what we want? Okay, I'm not sure that will work. So let's say, okay. So I think if we might need to use if function. So equal to if my start date is equal to 1, comma 1 will always be 1. So don't worry don't stress yourself. So 1 will always be 1. So that's still allowed in your formula. I think only 1 and 0, which you expect to be constant. If this is equal to 1, then you should give us 1. If not, my previous period should be added plus 1. And you close your brackets. Enter. Let me say it again. Equal to if the first logical test is my start date. If you are equal to 1, what should happen? It should give us 1. All right. I believe you all know how to use if function. If my start date is equal to 1, comma, value if true should give us 1. If not, it should give us the previous period, which is the base period, plus 1. Close your brackets. Close the brackets. Press enter. Don't copy it to the right for yet. I'll do the formula again. Equal to if my start date, if you are equal to 1, which is what we want to test. That means if our construction period is starting in that period, equal to give us 1. If not, then give us the previous period, the base period, right, plus 1. Close your bracket and press enter. You should get 1. Okay. Now edit the formula at the end of your close bracket. Now multiply by what? Multiply by the construction period. Just dynamic how, and that's the way project finance is set. It's just infusion of project finance into operational model. So multiply it by the construction period. Press enter and you drag it for the whole period. So if you come to your total and you sum and you type equal to max, so use your max. The max value you should get there should also be 7. Should be 7. So you just see that it counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then after that 7, you see that everything is blank. You can check that. You can check that. So can also can create your check to be sure that it's kind of match. So there are so many checks that we create when we are building a typical project finance. All right, we are good. Hope you are good. Any question before we move on? Any question before we move on? We good? What did you miss? What did you miss? Which part? Is it the counter? Where did we get this? So the 7 is just the max. So yes, just do the max. So you just want to be sure that yes, it's kind of aligned. So just max, then you highlight all the entire row. So this just using this total to do your check and the whole thing. So most time it might not be needed, but it's always good you use it to check your formula. So it's called self editing, self auditing. Okay. So as I said, the first thing is understand what you need to do. So the truth is I can't lie to you. There's no way you'll be a sound financial modeler without you not being an Excel expert. Yes. Hey, Damilari, please, now I'm begging. We understand you are not the only one facing the issue of the network downturn of a thing. I said we understand, so don't worry. You don't need to complain again. It's fine, man. It's fine. We'll see what we can do at the end of the session. Yeah, we appreciate your commitment. It's a whole lot. I can feel we can feel your pain from from your chat. Right. Don't worry. We'll see what we can do. Even if I need to send the recording to only you, at least. Okay, not only at least people within that your region. Well, at least we understand. So don't worry. Don't need to complain. We know it can be painful at times. It's beyond your control. So we'll say move on, move on. All right. So we have this now. Let's work smart. Work smart. Working smart is also part of your learning. So now copy everything from this construction. I'll copy the entire row. Okay. Copy the entire row from your construction down to your construction counter. Control C. Right. I'll come to my row 44, just leaving a row, and press Control V. Copy everything from your construction, the title down to your construction corner. Control C. Put your cursor on row 44 and you see you are highlighting the whole entire row and press Control V. Okay. Then link your start date. So change the construction now to operation. So everything that has construction there, make sure you change it to operation. Operation. Everything that has construction, make sure you change it to operation. And you can go ahead and link your operation start date and end date to what you have in the input. So link your operation and your end date, link it to what we have in the input, and by default, so you can delete that your operation, you can delete your check. So by default, you should have the formula should automatically capture every other thing, and then your max counter should be 53. Your max counter should be 53 for your operation period. So you can see immediately that construction stop, the following month operation starts. And this is a typical practice of a business. Now, during that construction period, there are some costs that the business will be burning, which also need to flow into the financials. Yeah, right. I know for we accountants, our normal approach is we're saying every expenses that was spent in that period, we just identify everything as if it's being spent in that particular year. But most times you can have a construction period that can span more than 6 months. You can have some that are 12. So for a typical project finance, you can have a construction period of 2 years, construction period of 3 years. Please, you didn't get 53. If you're sure that you've done this, your construction, this one that we've done here, right? We said copy it, paste it down here, link your start date, link it to your operation, link it to your operation, link it to your operation. Link your operation. So if you are yet to link your, so if you once you copy, let me do it again. So copy the entire construction. I need you guys to be to also be up to speed. It's part of the learning. Paste it down here. Paste it. Control V, Control paste it there. Then your construction, just change those names to operations where you have your construction. Change everything. Change it to operation. Change the name to operation. Change the name to operation. Change the name to operation. Then your date equal to, go to your input. The worst thing which I do not expect anybody to have here is the ability not to be able to link properly. So link that to your operation start date, not your setup. Enter the end date equal to, go to your input, also link that to your end date. Simple. So you can delete the first check that we did for that construction period. So if you have operation 53, construction 7. If you add both of them together, it should give you your model forecast period, which is 60 months. Our forecast is only for 5 years because they're an operational model. For a typical project finance, you can build a model forecast of up to 50 years. Yes, there's some project like that. But for typical operational model, just for the business, 5 years is fine. Can build for 10 years. But I think 5 years, as long as it's operational kind of model. Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? Simple and straightforward. Any question, any question, any question. So we have our construction period, we have our operation period. In the typical project finance, you can have like three time frame. In fact, I think let's create something we call timeline. So let's call this should we do it here? Okay, let's leave it here. Let's leave this one. So we have construction period. For a typical project finance, you can have there's something they call pre-finance period, right? So that's when you are doing you're trying to put all your documentation together, to make sure you get to the advisor, do this document and everything. We call it more like that's before financial close. So we believe the project has started those periods. So you're already putting all the documents you are spending on the project. So all those costs automatically flowing into the model already. Before you have your construction period, before the construction period, you could have some funny timing that comes before your operations and all those things. So it's quite interesting. But once you understand the basics, trust me, just application of what is applicable or not. Okay, so any question, any question, any question? Do you have any question? Please don't be shy to ask. All right, so now the session was meant to be 2 hours, but is it possible? Can I plead that we just try and cover our macro section so that we know that the next session we just start straight from our operations? Do I have your permission, or we should call it a session? Can we do our macro input? Can we do our macro input, or we should call it a session? It was meant to be 2 hours, so if you guys are, but I don't want to overload you guys. Okay, all right. So I think I have you guys permission. If you don't have permission, just let us know. Okay. All right. So now we've done our business timing. So let's go back to our input and let's do our macro. So come to my input. We are back to the input worksheet. We are back to the input. So whenever we need that, our timing flag that we created, we just go and call it out. All right. Okay. Hey, can you talk more on project finance and business valuation modeling? Hey, Oga Joseph. All right, so let's copy our business timings. Just copy those two headers and maybe leave a row. I think let's stick with leaving a row. Come down here and let's call this macro. Let's call this macro economic data. So business timing, macroeconomic data. So always remember. So take a look at structuring is very, very important, please. And don't be an herbalist. Right? When I say don't be an herbalist, I mean don't build your model and use this kind of annoying color. Please be professional with your colors. You don't have to paint everywhere. Be professional. In fact, most of my models just like to keep it restricted to 3 colors. Maybe I think it's because of this training, but I make sure my inputs cell color also kind of match the model theme of a thing, right? Yeah, don't let the creativity be too much. Professional in simplicity, please. Okay, so macro data. So the first one, let's call this cost incremental factor. How did you get the truth? Mojisola, I hope you are not setting us back. Which one is the truth? Are you referring to the column? Share this true. Don't worry about that true. Don't worry about that true. So you see that the person that mentioned the auditing thing that wanted to cause this. So there are some things you leave when you are done with the model. Say, hey, So let's read. So don't worry about the truth. Don't worry about the truth. No, don't worry. As long as you have this 7 and you have this 53, that's fine. Leave that truth. Leave that truth. Leave the truth. Yes, it's just some kind of, so that's another training on its own. Model audit, model audit toolkit. Mhm. So you open some model, you see there's workbook check, there's model audit check. So it's a mix of everything. So let's leave that. Okay. So so let's make sure your creativity is simple, easy to follow. You don't have to paint. You don't have to paint. Don't be a painter. Okay. So let's assume we'll be using our inflation. So inflation rate, inflation rate. Put a percent here. Now for the inflation rates, let's this part is very important, right? And that's why I want us to just cover it before our next session. So come under your input, under the annual input, put under the annual input, put your annual input like this, right? And let's go online. So because of our time, I think I might need to, let me just do that fast. So I'll go online in case you are working in a place where you have access to uh, the, the likes of reliable data sources. Yes, you can use that, but can go, if I go to Google and I'll type US inflation rate forecast and I press enter, right? We have Statista. Yes, Statista is a reliable data source, but one thing I've observed is that most companies usually have their own reliable data sources. I'm sure you all know all those different data sources that we have, right? So, what usually happens is you see someone build a model and you have to create a scenario of different data sources and what their results kind of look like. But for our training, let's stick with Statista. All right. So here, this is what I'm seeing. So I think our model is starting 2025. So 2.1, right? So let me look at it. 2.1 to 2.1. So come back to my model. So just type 2.1% and you can format it to percent. Okay. Sorry. I think because of my recording tool that I'm using. So 2.1, right? So format it to percent. So then 2%, 2%, 2%. I think this other 2 points. Oh, the 2.1 is in 2028. Okay, 2.1 and 2. Okay, so let's have it like this. Let's have it like this. So 2.1, 2, 2, 2.1, and 2. So that's annual input. So type your own. So 2.1, year 1, 2.0, year 2, 2.0, year 3, 2.1, year 4, 2.0, year 5. Okay. All right. So now let's bring it down here and let's call it, let's bring it under our monthly timeline. So you have the inflation rate, which means that inflation rate, we are going to do what? We are going to apply it for our what? For our monthly inflation. So which means we need a formula. So here we have the input on yearly basis. Okay. And we need to link each of them. For example, this is year 1, which is year 2025. So which means everything under our year 2025, under our monthly timeline, okay, we definitely be using that 2.1% for that current period. I hope you get that. Then everything year 2, we also all the 12 months we use this 2%. Everything in year 3 from January to December we do the same. So we need a formula. Which formula do you think can help us do that? Let me even ask your thoughts, guys. Which formula can help us do that? So these two under 2025, what will happen is the formula we look at, as long as it is 2025 year, it will pick what we have under 2025. Once we get to year 2026, it will also come here, pick what we have under 2026. Which formula do you think can help us do that? Index match. Thank you, Felix. If function. Okay, I think I would love to see how that if function will work. Lookup function, yes. X lookup. Okay. So always remember when you are building your
But this is
model.
supposed to be most of it.
Hey, Oga, your daily. You can use your chat box, don't worry. Okay, yeah. So X lookup. So always remember, so when you are building your models, your users might not, your clients might not have the updated Excel. So always just make sure you use it. You kind of use formula that's at least still generally available. So H lookup, I think H lookup should be able to work. Lookup should be able to work, right? So equal to lookup. So let's try lookup. Most time you do try and error. But as much as you're doing try and error, always know what you want, the output. So if the formula you try, if it's not giving you the output, always remember to that, hey, this is what I expect to come out. Okay, so equal to lookup. So I feel lookup should be able to work. Lookup. So lookup for what? So someone say, please don't let us use lookup. Timothy, why? Why don't you want to use lookup? It's not V lookup. It's just normal lookup. It's quite straightforward. Is it that you don't have lookup in your own Excel? Everyone has lookup. We are using 2019 or something. Yeah. So it's lookup is not V lookup. So equal to lookup. Lookup. I know most people don't usually use this lookup function. So lookup, and what is it looking for? Look for my year, right? Look for my year, so you can keep the row constant. As I said, when you use a formula, always think about reusing the formula again, and it will work automatically. Just look at what we did in our timing. So look for this year. We're under our monthly date now, so make sure you are putting the formula under column U. Still that same row of your inflation rate. I'm doing my own in row 26. So equal to lookup. You should look for this my year, this 2025. Okay. Yeah, sum if. I think that's also a good one. So but most people underrate the use of sum if. Sum if is magical, but let's leave that. So look up, click on the date, make sure you keep the row constant. $5, comma, you should look at it from where, then align to your 2025, the year that we have under our annual date. Right? Align from 2025 down to 2029. Just press your F4 once. Log both, just log that range. Log the entire range. So which means we are saying, hey, any month, any year that is showing in that current month, go and look for it in the year range that we have 2025, 26, 27, 28, 29. Okay, put a comma, and what should happen? Then highlight your imputed inflation rate under those years. Highlight the O range and also press F4 once to lock it as well. Okay, but under that one, I think it will be good for us to just log the column so that we can always reuse that formula. So once you highlight your from 2.1 down to the 2, from year 1 to year 5. So I press my F4 once, twice, 3 times. Yes. So $M26, then $Q26, and I can close my brackets, enter, then format it to show in percent. Format it to show in percent. Format it to show in percent, and you can drag it across the 5 years. You can drag it to show. So we're still going to convert that percent. We're still going to convert it into what we call index. So don't worry about me saying. So it does not mean that every cost will be growing like this. So yeah. So it also depends if they are considering annual increment in cost or semi-annual increment in cost. But for now, this is basically saying on what? On monthly basis. I hope you got it. So look through. So maybe year 3 you can change it to 5%. Then go to your monthly where under 2027 and make sure that 5% is showing under 2027. So that's how to do more like a self-check. Do more like a self-check. Do more like a self-check. So change for year 2, put another value there, go to that under that month, that's that year. Make sure that it's actually giving you the proper results. So as I said, it's garbage in, garbage out. Are we good? Any question? Any question? All right. So now because you are building more like an operational kind of model that management can also use in making decision, there are times where you need to build something we call override option, right? So I'll put that one here and I'll call this override. So override cost incremental. Override cost incremental. Now, this is part of a typical business operation practice, right? Okay, Lillian, saying your battery is almost going off. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so there's option where we can actually override the cost. Okay, so what that means is you need to think like a management when you are building model. And as I said, this is more like a real practical thing. I want to build this and just share it with the clients. So it's just more like we are working on this engagement together. Okay, so what I will do is just copy one of these percent formats. I'll paste it here and delete it. So I'll just drag it across for the 60 month. So what we are saying here is we are giving a room for management, maybe a particular amount, a particular period. They feel maybe this is what might likely happen. They can insert that percent in it. I hope we get that. So which means we are giving more like a room for them to be able to override the inflation rate. So maybe if management believe that, oh, maybe the annual inflation rate might not work. So maybe they believe that, you know what, maybe in 2025, maybe we put a 5%, or maybe they said here is 0. Right, then they come here, they are telling us that, so you know what, maybe in 2026, instead of the 2% that you put, maybe we should put across. So you are just giving that flexibility, because that's why it is called operational model. Okay, so here you now come to the next one below it. So leave a row and let's call it model inflation rate. So we have a model inflation rate. So model inflation rate, and what will happen now is you type a formula equal to. So you can decide to put the override under Collins. I've already given that explanation. Listen. I know someone we ask. That's why immediately we did this and put it under monthly. I gave that explanation. Hi, okay, Collins, be attentive. I gave that. That was the first thing I did. Immediately we created the under. We moved those annual inflation rate into monthly. Right? We are still going to index it. So basically, we are saying this is based on annual effects factor. So for the override, right? Okay, override, just create your override cost incremental, and then you copy one of these percent so that you keep that formatting, and you paste it here, and you make it blank. So what you are saying is you are actually giving a room for management to, if they feel the inflation cost might not be applied to the kind of business they are doing. As I said, it's an operational model. At times you are working with the company in-house, right? So management have this decision, this. So modeling is not like what you see on most of these online courses that you see everything just look perfect. No. So that's why it's called operational model. Yeah, A, B, if, and all those kind of things, you need to factor them in. And you need to build a model in such a way that is flexible to be able to incorporate, allow some of those things. Then we can tell you that, oh no, this inflation rate, that might not be applied. You know what? So you can also do the overrides on yearly basis. But most times I usually prefer it on monthly basis. Okay. So let's have now the model inflation rate. So just type equal to. So that's what our if should help us Get that? So equal to if, let me zoom out for us. So let's use if this my override cell, so remember, do it for month 1, and you can highlight your formula, is greater than or lesser than 0. So which means what we are saying is you can decide to put a negative value there. You can decide to put a positive value there. In fact, I know, or we can use is blank, but I don't want us to go through that route so that I don't scatter someone said. So if the override cell is lesser than or greater than 0, what should happen? It should give us the data that we have in the override cell. Say that again. If my override cell, so click the override cell, if it is lesser or greater than, I'm sure you know where that sign on your keyboard, than 0, what should happen? It should give us the override data. So which means we are saying anything they type inside that, either positive or negative, it should give us that same value override. If not, it should just give us our linked, our annual inflation rate that we've created. Okay, close your bracket, enter, so you can put it in your percent format, right? And you can drag it across. So you can test. So maybe you go under 2026, so everything under 2026. So let's assume the first period is the first 6 months, and that's I said. See, operational modeling is the eyes of the, trust me, is a top skill you just want to have, because if you can build a proper operational model, project finance will never be any problem for you. Okay, so if I go under my first January, so let me assume management and say, oh no, you know what, you got force, okay? No, you cannot get force. So let me put the formula again. So we are saying equal to if, right? This my override cell. If it is lesser than or greater than 0, comma, what should happen? Basically, I'm saying if they put anything inside this my override cell, right? As long as the value is either greater than 0 or lesser than 0, right? It should give me the same value that I have in this cell. Comma, if not, it should give me the value of my inflation that I've created above. So if you do not select the inflation above, it will give you false. Close your brackets and press enter. So it should give you, then make sure you format it to your percent so that it appear like this. So that for you to be sure, as I said, it's all about how management think about business, and that's the usefulness of model, not what we are saying, right? But if there is a value there, it will work. Yes, so let's try that. So if I come to, maybe management feels that in January 20, maybe by the time you were building the model, that's the information you have. But now that they have this, something is changing, right? So maybe they are saying the first 6 months, maybe the first 6 months of, let's go to 2026. So the first 6 months of 2026, they are saying likely the inflation rate, or let's say for the year 2026. So it's all now, it's also where your own business creativity, business understanding also comes into play, and those are the things that will make you stand out of millions modeler. So if they decide that they are applying 5%, so if we type 5% for all those years, you know what will happen? The formula will automatically do what? Capture it. So the formula will automatically do what? Capture that 5%, and which means it's going to override our initial annual formula that we've created. Okay, so check to make sure that it is working. I know Excel can be acting funny at times, so I think my own didn't quickly calculate. So I just click inside the formula exists, click inside to be sure. So you can see that. So check others to be sure that it is working. But if they type 0 inside it, 0 is 0, so it has no effect because the formula is saying 0 is greater or lesser than 0. Okay, we good? Any question? Any question? Any question? All right. So I believe that is we are fine. Now let's now use this to create our. Let's use this to create our what? Our inflation index. We did not get the same. Mojisola, we've not done anything special. Okay, so now let's do our inflation index. Let's convert this into our inflation index. You cannot get zero. You cannot get zero. You cannot get zero if you put the proper formula. If your override cell is either lesser or greater than zero, it should give you the override value. If not, it should give us our data of that inflation that we have currently. If you are using the same cell range with also, let me see if I can drop that in the chat box. So it should quite straightforward. Then make sure you format. Oh, make sure you format it to percent. Oh, thank you. So make sure you select your format. Yes. Put it in percentage. If it's still giving you zero, okay, just format it to percent. Okay, thanks, guys. Now let's have our inflation. So let's convert this. Let's convert it into inflation index. Inflation index. Let's convert it into inflation index. Can we create a WhatsApp group to ensure continuous conversation and revision? You see, I'm not. You see that family of WhatsApp thing. I'm not sure I'm buying into it, because before we create a WhatsApp now and someone will say, hey, Mr. B has another view, or someone will be disturbing someone with some kind of funny messages if you don't forward it to 200 people before the close of day. So let's keep it neutral, guys. Right? I don't like seeing disagreement and fights. Most of all will be saying, no, you cannot do that. Why will you say you cannot talk to me like that? So to keep things like that, let's maintain our lane. Right? Even though we would have created that WhatsApp, or no, people, we human beings, we can be funny at times. So let everyone enjoy their opinion in their space. Okay, so it's a free learning. So uh, try to make more friends. That's the concept. Okay, so inflation index. Let's convert it to inflation. Yes, okay. Someone said it to be restricted to professional platform. Even professionals are also human beings. Now let's convert this. But before we do that, we need our annual timeline. So annual counter. So let's bring in our annual counter. Need our annual counter. So let's just leave the WhatsApp things, guys. I wanted to create it, but let's keep it. Let's everyone maintain keep to their lane. Okay. So when we come to the session like this, we can have our discussion. So let's have our annual counter. Annual counter. Basically, what we mean is we need our annual period, so which means month 1 to month 12 represents what? Represent the first year. Then month 13 to the end, so something like that. And I think we've created it. If you come to our control, yes, so you can see our year counter. If you go to your control under row 34, right, starting from column U for our monthly timing. So let's blink that. So come to your inputs. This annual counter under your column U, please, equal to, go to your control and link it. So you can also decide to use your link cell style. So this just kind of gives us that, yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 represent the first year. So that's year 1. Go to the second one from 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. The next 12 months, it also gives us year 2. So that's what that is saying. So please link that. Check. Please do it again. Create your annual counter below. Just make sure you leave a row. Right, type your equal to, go to your control. We've already created that year counter. In case you don't know how to we created it, go and watch the video on how I created this template. So click on it. You've already created it here. That's all you are doing. Just do your link, put it in your link cell style so that they know that it's coming from another worksheet. All right. So I don't want to create I don't want to create a WhatsApp group then. I will go to work. I come back in the night. Let me come and rest, and I'll be seeing 300 messages. And by the time you check, you see that it's Mr. Hay that said something that Mr. B did not like, or someone asked a question and it was so no, I don't want that. So let's keep it like the Slack. Okay. Let's, let's just leave this opening of a group thing. Let's keep our learning. Let's stay open like this. Okay, so let's build our inflation index. Let's build our inflation index. Let's build our inflation. What do I need to do again, Kike? You are just linking,
I
link
didn't
from
understand
your
this.
control. So if you go to your control, you already have it here, year counter. So you're just linking this guy. You are linking it to your input here. You are just linking it here. That annual period, I just count the first 12 months represents year one, the second 12 months, year two. So you see 2, 2, 2, 2. The next 3 months, next 12 months, year three, and like that. So make sure you are linking to the under the correct one. Yeah, operational model can be kind of clumsy at times. So it's not expected to be operated by a non-finance person. So also just stick your mind to that. And yeah, and I say keep it simple and all those things, but operational model is always bulky. Okay. So Olufemi, you can type in the chat box. Your hand is up. You can see you. I'm also giving you my own two hands in the air. All right, so let's do the inflation index. So to do that, equal to open my brackets. Open my brackets. Let's do this once and for all. 1 plus okay, sorry. So that we can always, so remember we said we want to build it in such a way that we can reuse the same structure. So what we do is, this our linked data. Make sure you let's keep the row constant. So that by the time we move this into another worksheet, into another row, it should just stick to that row 34 of that our input. So keep the column constant. So Control U $34. That's what math is showing. So copy it across. So that by the time, so we'll just do for the cost, you copy it, use it for the pricing incremental factor, and you move on. You don't need to repeat it again. Okay, so now let's do our inflation index factor equal to, open my bracket, 1 plus my inflation rate, close your bracket. So 1 plus my inflation rate, right? So the other way, if you want to use that approach where the base period is equal to 1, right? That means you might need to change this, but let's work with this, right? So 1 plus my inflation rate, then raised to, that should be your shift 6 on my own keyboard. Then open my brackets, then my annual period minus 1. My annual period minus 1. So let me do it again. Equal to, open my bracket, 1 plus my inflation rate, close the bracket, raised to, open my another bracket, my period minus 1. Close the bracket and press enter. If you know how to format it to show in X, I think you can do that so that it has X at the back. But if you don't know how to do that, you can just learn that through formatting. I believe so. Maybe let's make it 2 decimal, because doing this index. So that it appears like this. So that one. But in case you don't know how to put it, just don't worry about it. Don't worry yourself too much. Just leave it as the 1.0. Just add to decimal, and we have our cost incremental index, which we are going to use in our model calculation. Are we good? Straightforward, right? Straightforward. Any question? Any question? Any question? So I think I'm not sure we'll be able to complete it today. So tomorrow, uh, should we have our session tomorrow, or we should make it next week Saturday? Let me hear from you guys. I also like to enjoy my Sunday because before you know now Monday is here again. So should we make it next Saturday? Next Saturday. I think next Saturday is fine. Okay, yes, yes, yes. So still have time to rest. So next week, the next session, we are going to do our price incremental factor, and then that we don't need to waste. Though we might not be able to complete it all. That's by the way. So we do our pricing incremental factor. We do our tax, then hopefully we can get started with our operations. Right, 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 right. So thank you everyone. Sorry we had to take additional 30 minutes, so let's call it a session here today. Please, you can also try and, yes, Oluwafemi. So we are slow today. Sorry, man. No, everyone is not on here. That speed. I will just need to take it easy. Right, right. But I think we really move very fast today. And I think just only this our note and discussion that first took our time. So next week we get started. We go to it straight. All right. So thank you everyone. And yes, I'll call it a session here today.
Please, I
If you
have a
enjoyed your time. Yes, just type in the chat box. Don't worry, I'm reading the chat box. I know you guys want to. Yeah, okay. The hash under unit, what does it mean? It just means it means a number. Yes, the hash means a number. The annual counter. Annual counter is just linked from the input. From the input, you already have it in there in your input. We only said we should keep the row constant. With the recording be shared, you guys did not pay me money, so unless you guys will pay for my data. Can I share the notes tab? Don't worry. Okay, I will share. Okay, once you get the recording, you should be able to create your own from there. Yes. I got the 100% for the inflation. Yes, so we just format it to, yeah, format it to number. So it's still the same thing as percent though. So it means 100. One is the same thing as 100%. So not a problem. How much we will refund you? Okay, so please, can I have 2 minutes with you now, sir? If you have a question, you can type in the chat box. Yeah, let's stay together. Okay, so someone is saying they can collect the money on my behalf. You see life. Okay. Oh, all right. So thanks everyone. Thanks for being part of the session. And let's call it the way you guys are asking how much. All right. So does the inflation index account for monthly model? Yes, we are building a monthly model. So we just converted the annual into monthly. I also give a room where the management can decide to override the cost incremental factor, and we are factoring it in the monthly. But this one we are doing, right? So considering we are building for an advanced country, the truth is inflation don't usually jump like that. Yes, I know for develop is it, for emerging countries, inflation can seems to jump unexpected, right? In fact, the jump can even be massive on monthly basis. But if you go to a developed countries, such don't usually happen, right? Even if it happen, it can if it's happened, there's always more like a control measure to make sure that it is back to normal. Right. So most times we just stick to that inflation, to the annual inflation rate and apply it. But if if the management require you to kind of give a room where there's more like an monthly inflation impact, because now what we've done here is we are saying the annual impact will be applied across for the first 12 months. So basically, we are saying it's more like the average inflation. So if you take a look at a company last 12 months inflation rate, if you average it, so that's more like the approach that we are using here. But if you decide to stick to a monthly, so which means you are saying you are increasing the costs on monthly basis, well, there could be cases where you do that. Please, how do we get the X for the multiple? Hey, no, I'm not teaching you that one. Did we create that as part of our model template? No. So if you can, that one is Excel formatting. No, we are not doing Excel class, guys. So it's just your formatting. Press your Control 1 on it, and you can add your double quotes and type the X inside for that. Yes. Sorry, we are not doing Excel class. Sorry. Mr. Oluyomi, this your 2 minutes like this. My 2 minutes is very expensive. I said, ask the question. I see once we close this session like this. And yes, you can ask now. You can ask. We are still here. Or you don't want people to hear us. So let me stop. Let's stop our recording. Please to. So thanks everyone. The recording is stopping now. Okay. Please, what does